Hey there, and thanks for joining me for the first official podcast slash YouTube video for the Creator Following podcast. I'm really excited. We're going to kick things off with a two-part video slash podcast about being a creative. And this is just kind of like an initial um, thermometer check of what you're doing. So, what I'm titling it is the 7 questions you need to ask yourself to find your true calling. And what we're going to do is we're going to go through a part one, which is 7 questions that we need to ask ourselves as creatives and what we're doing. And then part two is going to be practices in order to reinforce the things that we have discovered about ourselves. All right, I'm going to take a minute or two to explain exactly what we're trying to do. So, with these 7 questions that I have in order for you to find your true calling. Uh, Earlier in the week, I talked about what a true calling is. I posted a blog up on creatorfollowing.com and it was about finding your true calling. So, I explained that there are gifts and there are talents. So, gifts are the things that you innately possess, that you were born with, things that you just discover within yourself that you have an ability for, a natural ability for. And then talent can be learned. And talent can go with your gifts, or it can be something that you learn. If you are able to learn something easily, then you can kind of develop those things and practice at them and get better. But obviously, if you are gifted in something, it's going to be much easier for you to um, develop and progress and improve, and those things will naturally just get better and you'll be able to do it faster than a regular person that is just trying to learn something. So, your gifts and your talents have a lot to do with your calling, and your life experiences kind of help determine what that true calling can be. So, your life experiences paired with your gifts and talents can ultimately help you find your true calling in life. If you are a painter, somebody else is a painter, but their set of experiences in their life might contrast in your experiences in your life. And that's what makes us unique. You can't just give up on like being a painter and seeking like, you know, being world renowned just because, oh, somebody else is doing it. Like, you shouldn't stop there because you might actually have something that people are seeking that they don't even know yet. So, using your unique experiences in your life and pairing them with your gifts and talents is hopefully going to help us dive deep to discover and find what your true calling is. All right, so let's dig in. I have included a PDF download of a worksheet that you can use. You can follow along if you'd like, or you can use it later. It is made to be used like separately from the video if you're not watching it or you're not able to, especially if you're listening on the podcast. So the PDF document worksheet will have the 7 questions and it will have the exercises that we're about to do. So, question number one is, what experiences have you had in your life that make you an expert at something? So, with this question, you want to ask yourself if you have had a specific set of experiences in your life that are related to each other or maybe can be related to each other if they're not directly related to each other, um, that make you an expert at either a topic or a task, your gifts and talents, things that you have gone through that are specific to you. And when you're doing this, it might help to create a timeline of certain life events or things that are like a big deal that have happened to you. And you could go as far back as like 10, 15 years, just some really like keystone moments in your life that have kind of made you who you are today. And if they coincide with your gifts and talents, that's a bonus. So make a list of some events in your life that could possibly point to you being an expert at a specific topic or a specific gift or talent or task. Question number two is, what are you passionate about? What you're passionate about can be your gifts and your callings, or gifts and talents. Um, what you are passionate about can be something related to that as well. Or something that you could be passionate about could be completely different. And therefore, that gives you kind of like a niche when it comes to when you're trying to find your calling. So, marrying two different things that seem like they don't belong in the same category could become like amazing, right? Um, I once was in a bookstore and in the magazine section, and I was looking through magazines and I found a magazine that was, I believe, titled, and I'll make sure to I'll make sure to look it up just to make sure. But I'm pretty sure it was titled Guns and Quilting. And at first I was just kind of like, really? But then I thought about it, and I guess if you're a couple where like either the husband's like really into like guns and then the wife is like really into quilting, that could probably work. Or if you're kind of like one of those people that's like a homesteader or somebody that lives like out in the country, like maybe in Montana, and you have like a buffalo farm or something like that, then that kind of makes sense because if you're into like protecting your buffalo with guns and then making quilts for like long winters, um, that would work. Pretty sure there's still a publication. So obviously they've hit a niche market. Um, so yes, find out what you're passionate about, and then if that goes along with like your gifts, great. If it doesn't, don't crumple that paper up and throw it away. Don't do that because we might be onto something that is completely different, completely new, and you'll end up discovering if whether or not those things kind of go together. So list like a few things that you're passionate about, not just one thing, and then maybe we can kind of go through it and figure out like if something does contrast what you're gifted in, maybe you can make something completely new and awesome. So, yeah, what are you passionate about? Question number three is, what brings your heart pain? Now, I know that if I ask you in question two, what are you passionate about? Sometimes those things can kind of go together or coincide with each other. But when I ask you what brings your heart pain, I'm thinking more of what is something in life that kind of gets you riled up, like something you can kind of become an advocate for. Like, what in the world makes you just fired up? For me, it's a couple things. So I am a rescuer. All of our animals that we have one cat and two dogs. All of them are rescues. And we rescued them from um, all different situations, but they're rescues and we love them. And that is something that I am very much an advocate for. Instead of buying your animal at the pet store or um, puppy farms and stuff like that, either know where you're getting your animal, or rescue one, like go to your humane society and look for your new fur baby. So that's something I like to advocate. And I also like to advocate for victims of sex trafficking. And there are a couple of organizations that I like to follow. One's Dressember. So in December, you wear a dress each day for the whole month, doing whatever you usually do. You just wear a dress in order to create awareness for victims of sex trafficking. And it helps raise money to help those in need that are trying to get out of that life. And there is another one that I like. The organization is called The Secret Place, and it is a home for girls in actually Pensacola, Florida, that the girls are getting out of that life and they're trying to get on their feet and trying to find um, people to help them get through that and to become better. So there's housing, and they have access to like lawyers and doctors and therapists and everything and anything that they need in order to live a life all on their own with freedom. So, what in your life causes your heart pain? And then you can write that down for question number three, and that'll kind of help get you into the um, perspective of like helping others, and then also helping people like outside of like what you do. I am all about being an advocate, and I am all about philanthropy and being not smart about it, but just being intentional with it. So, question number three is, what makes your heart hurt? Or what brings your heart pain? Question number four is, what keeps your fire burning? So, for this question, if I could explain it in a way that makes it kind of more understandable, this is a question that's like, what makes you feel alive? Um, it can be like whenever I was tattooing, what made me feel alive or what kept my fire burning in that was the look on people's faces or the reactions I got from the tattoos that they received from me. Um, I I just delighted in seeing people's reactions to something that was very like intimate and something that was very personal, something that was like on them forever. It gave me this sense of just like my mission is done kind of thing. So if you can think about what you do or what you could do that would keep your fire burning, like what makes you get up in the morning, what makes you excited for what you can create or what you can do, that's what I'm talking about, like listing those things that keep you feeling alive. So, question number four is, what keeps your fire burning? Question number five is going to be, what do you possess or what do you own? So, this part is, what do you possess? So, you can possess like goods, or you can possess services, and those are things that you have to offer. And then what you own can be like the knowledge that you have and the expertise that you have. This is where we're trying to kind of pinpoint like what your final product is going to be. Are you going to um, give people an experience, or are you going to teach them something? Are you going to give them a service? Are you going to do something for them that is going to make their life easier? Or lastly, Are you going to provide a product, or are you going to provide goods for people? For creatives, I mean, any one of those categories, you can totally be part of that category and only that category. But sometimes those two categories can coincide with each other, or maybe you actually envelop all three of these categories. So kind of determine the things that you want to either produce or create, um, and think of those things in terms of like, what do you already have that you can use for that. So question number 5 is, what do you already possess, or what do you already own? Question number 6 is, what do you want your life topic to be? So think about this in a way of like, if you had just one book that was written about you, what would you want that title to be? Like, what would be the thing that you're known for? This has to do with a lot of the culmination of like all the answers from questions 1 through 5. So this is like kind of like a biography of sorts, but the title of it is going to be like boom, like what you do. Um, so you're going to take all the answers from the previous questions, put them together, brainstorm, and then try to come up with like the title of your book. So question number 6 is, what do you want your life topic to be? And then question number 7, which is the last question, is, who are you? And not to get all Alice in Wonderland crazy caterpillar on you or anything, but seriously, like, who are you? You can take the 6 questions that we went through, really like mull them over and figure out like exactly who you are and what you have to offer and what you can do, um, the battles that you can fight for. You can just find out all kinds of things from this exercise. And I'd like to encourage you to really like dive deep, especially into the question where it asks about like your life experiences. Really dig deep on that one, because you need to know like the things that have made you who you are. Those things that you've gone through, those events that you have come out on the other side of, those are the things that are really going to like drive it home for you when you're finding your true calling. So, question number 7, who are you, isn't actually just the question like you ask yourself. When you find out who you are, you find out exactly the people that you can serve. So you have this like wealth of knowledge, you have this wealth of experience, you have this like passion, and you like have something that you want to like make better in the world, that you want to advocate for. I mean, if you can make all these things come together into like a tiny pod, that is a very powerful pod. And that is where you find like your true calling, who you were made to be, and who God wanted you to be, because there isn't going to be anybody else out there like you. You're going to be unique with all these things put together, and you will be able to serve such a unique and awesome purpose that either people know they need or they don't know they need. And how beautiful is that? That you will be empowered by this so much. Like when I went through this exercise, oh my gosh, there were things about myself that I discovered that I didn't know. And I thank God every day that I found this like way to find out who I am and like find out what my calling is, because that's like everything, right? We're all walking around and trying to make sense of this life. And when you find your true purpose, I mean, there is not a day that goes by that you don't want to wake up and you you know, there isn't a day that goes by that you don't want to do something. Like proactively seek more things to do and more things to create and more things to just improve upon so that you can just be better at like serving your purpose. So, 7 questions. There is a downloadable document. The 7 questions are on there. They'll help you sort through all the things that are going around inside your head and inside your soul and spirit. And I hope that this helps you. And I want to challenge you to get this done as soon as possible. You have a week, but get it done as soon as possible so that you have that much more time to kind of meditate on it and pray on it and make sure that you are going in the direction you need to go. So, download that thing, do this stuff, you know, write all your answers down and kind of sort through everything and organize it in a way that makes sense. Um, I hope that this blesses you, and I hope that you are on your way to finding your true calling. All right, well, join us next week when we continue to part 2 of Finding Your True Calling. We'll be diving into the 3 important things to consider when finding your calling and cultivating that thing. So I hope you tune in because it'll take whatever you learned here today or whenever you do this exercise, and we'll be able to kind of help it along and help culture it, cultivate it, and really, dude, your calling is to give me kisses, isn't it? In part 2, we'll be talking about 3 important things to consider for discovery. This will be what we do with what we find out from part 1, 7 questions to ask to find your calling. We'll take what we learned from that and then we will pair them with the 3 important things for discovery in order to continue to cultivate and to grow in that. If it's something that you find out that you've already been doing, great. We can just continue to grow. If it's something that is completely new to you, then awesome. We'll find out how you can cultivate that thing and how you can make that thing happen. So, tune in next week and we'll see you or hear from you then. Bye.